So I want to talk to you guys. I think going forward, I'm ready to live my truth.
So I need to converse with you folks some. You realize I think proceeding, I'm prepared to experience my reality. Ought to understand that anybody that rouses that degree of insane, presumably shouldn't have escaped the dating stage young lady, not Dwayne Way, uncovering Gabrielle association for being exceptionally mean and purportedly forceful to him during their marriage. It's your young lady Letitia. With a T in young lady, do I have some fiery tea for you all? You know how Gabrielle has been uncovering Dwayne's insider facts and educating us regarding how he is furtively gay and has been going behind her back with a few men. Well, Dwayne is currently shooting back and uncovering some tea about Gabrielle, uncovering her for supposedly putting hands on him. Yet that is not all, since he likewise had a more insane tea to spill about her. Did he simply uncover Gabrielle for being a lesbian? You realize separate from it's a question of freely available report. And it had like perhaps 24 hours before somebody found it at the town hall. And it was a news thing, unquestionably excruciating and troublesome, when it's something public oak, so it appears as though Dwayne Swim is presently at last opposing Gabrielle's humiliating disclosures. And it just so happens he has many allegations of his own on the grounds that he is currently blaming Gabrielle for being an antagonist in their marriage and being oppressive towards him. Young lady, the narratives he needs to tell are very surprising. And it shows that only one out of every odd relationship that we see via virtual entertainment is essentially as wonderful as they cause it to appear to be, on the off chance that you all have been unaware of everything going on. Kid, pause for a minute and let me SP the tea, 'cause you know that no one SPS the tea great like me, okay? So last week, we figured out that Gabrielle Association and Dwayne Swim were having a few significant issues in their marriage. And things were awful to the point that Jabber was conversing with some separation lawyers and attempting to sort out some way to continue on with their marriage or end things incidentally. A significant justification for their issues was the way that Dwayne can't keep it in his jeans and continue to sling it around Hollywood for every individual who needs a nibble. As terrible as it sounds, him betraying her is the same old thing, since he's been doing that for the whole relationship right from when they began dating. One of his various side pieces spilled the tea bag, then saying I also had what was happening with Dwayne. Can't lie, he is perfect in bed. Yet I certainly wouldn't view him in a serious way the manner Gabrielle does. He lays down with and flies be out constantly. They like to carry on like they are Michelle and Barack, when in all actuality things are not what they appear. She proceeded with each time some sort of tattle comes out, they need to show up to show the media how genuine they are. He's associated with numerous young ladies, and that is without a doubt. And everybody that arrangements with him knows this. Either Gabrielle knows this and couldn't care less, or she is acting ignorant, which I find hard to accept. Well, it just so happens Dwayne wasn't throwing into ladies, since he was purportedly doing it with men. Also listen, Dwayne didn't segregate about who got what he was throwing around on the grounds that he gave it to similarly. However much he gave it to the ladies, currently murmurs regarding Dwayne's clandestine gay experiences had been flowing for some time, and they've just been getting more grounded areas of strength for, and the years. Yet individuals haven't actually been giving a lot of consideration to it. I mean, he has been hitched to 2 ladies, and he even had a child on Gabrielle. So clearly that should mean something, right? Well, it appears individuals presently accept that he has just been involving the ladies as a facial hair growth to conceal his genuine sexuality, since he would rather not risk his mystery getting uncovered. I mean, the number of gay men that do you all know at the highest point of the NBA? No doubt I suspected as much currently. Now, back to the subject of the breakchild individuals. Except that the whole explanation that Dwayne had a kid so not long after the separation is that he was attempting to persuade Gabrielle to take him back. I know that having a child to persuade somebody to return is wild. Yet remain with me, you all, since I will seem okay. See, insiders are guaranteeing that the explanation they separated in any case is that Gabrielle thought that Dwayne was on the DL, and she was finished being his cover, so Dwayne attached with his long-lasting sweetheart Asia Matt Toyer and got her pregnant in a couple of months. And Gabrielle took him back after that at first that didn't check out on the grounds that why in the world would she take him back very quickly after the child. Definitely, the math ain't mathing on that one yet, like the insider said Dwayne had the child to persuade Gabrielle that he wasn't gay. And when she had her alleged proof she took him back, she likewise talked about the hurt in a meeting where she said it ought to be obvious that we were not in a decent spot at the time that kid was imagined. Yet we were improving when he at long last enlightened me regarding the pregnancy to say I was crushed is to pick a word on a low rack for comfort. There are individuals outsiders I won't ever meet who have been vexed that I have not recently discussed that injury. I have not had words, and surprisingly, after untold snapshots of treatment, I don't know I have them currently. Well, incidentally, they weren't in a decent spot because on the grounds that she figured out that her man had supposedly been attaching with people, yet when he had the child, she altered her perspective well. This makes sense of why she and Dwayne never appear to recognize the presence of his other child savior. And they love to imagine as he doesn't exist, I mean. Have you all at any point can't help thinking about why, for heaven's sake, Dwayne is father of the year to his other 3 children. Yet the main time savior likely sees him as on television or Instagram. Better believe it, that is 'cause the kid was supposedly only an apparatus. And he doesn't add to the ideal picture of the ideal family that Gabrielle and Dwayne needed. Yet in the event that you think this is terrible, well, it's more regrettable in light of the fact that separated from the entire gay show, there was still a ton of insane stuff happening in the marriage, like how they split every one of the bills. Similarly, fans began to give them the side eye when Gabrielle let the cat out of the bag in a meeting, uncovering that they split the bills directly down the center, a directly up 50-50 split to say I'm head of family, 'cause in this family we split everything 50-50s, yet in different families that every one of us need to help. It puts this there's dependably this like gorilla on your back that resembles you better work. You realize you falling asleep in this entire circumstance had fans feeling a wide range of ways, particularly when you consider the colossal contrast in profit among Dwayne and Gabrielle. She has a total assets of generally $40 million, while he's perched on a fortune of around $170 million, which is more than 4 times what she has in the bank. It's unusual why they're adhering to this 50-50 split. We truly he could be contributing more given the pay hole, yet stand by there's more. Dwayne spilled a few additional succulent subtleties in a meeting. Turns out it was Gabrielle who pushed for this equivalent division, all due to something Dwayne said during a warmed contention that left her inclination truly awkward. We chose together on the grounds that I assume I said one time when we was in Miami. I expressed something about it being my home that I paid for. My significant other took a gander at me. She resembled you won't ever express that to me from now on when it's something that we share. Thus my better half was like that when we moved to LA. I got half on it. You won't ever say my home from this point forward. This caused fans to feel like Dwayne was actually the antagonist of the story. And it makes sense of why fans rushed to help Gabrielle when we caught wind of the marriage self-destructing. I mean the way that he would let her compensation similarly when he realized that he cleared a path more than she. And he could undoubtedly pay, all the more so this had individuals on his case. And they advocated her. Yet from the narratives Dwayne is presently telling Kid, it appears as though she has figured out how to con us into belly in her so story on the grounds that from what Dwayne is presently talking about, young lady, it seems as though he is the person in question, and not the antagonist as we naturally suspected. Yet before we get into that untidy dramatization, could we at any point discuss the way that Gabrielle some of the time offered a few peculiar expressions that made it appear to be she didn't regard Dwayne, like the time she said the greatest distinction among this, And the last marriage will be a prenup at my demand. When you have your own stuff, you don't have to stress over any other person's stuff. So everybody ought to go into the relationship knowing I'm hanging around for yourself, and you're hanging around for myself. And actually, I've never seen Dwayne balance the checkbook, so I got to safeguard my stuff. It's the flood representing things to come now. I know that prenups are, for the most part, a shrewd thought, yet the manner in which she discussed Dwayne sort of recommended that she doesn't regard everything that much, yet we're not finished with the gay bits of gossip on the grounds that recall when Panther Wright spilled some steaming hot tea about Dwayne being on the DL, routinely tossing some wild gay pool.